On the right, team card holder player. On left, see Cedric Phillips. Normally here in the booth, he's over at the table.
Checking out his fantasy sports teams, no doubt.
Devin, a slight deviation. Rather than Bant Company, it's Bant Humans. Something but a more aggressive take. One that I actually think may help him against the mono white Humans deck.
Yeah, he'll have a lot of the same cards, but he has the collected company kind of a breaker to go over the top.
Yeah, that card seems great. I know that the Bant Humans deck frequently plays has 4 Lambholt pacifists in the main. That card, excellent against mono white.
Yeah, and Koepke 4 full copies here. Only 3 Thraben Inspectors, so Cedric is going to be advantaged on the Inspector front.
I like it. That card like Thraben Inspector, you would think a multicolored deck wouldn't want to play it but in Koepke's situation, no, the card's just actually good.
Yeah, you just need that high threshold of humans, and the 1/2 is better in his slower deck than 2 1s.
Koepke on the draw, scries to the bottom. Cedric on the play with mono white Humans, maybe the most important part of the match. Starts on Expedition Envoy, plays another Envoy, passes. Yeah, we kept the 1-lander. What are you going to do about it?
Can cast almost every spell in his entire deck off of 1 planes. It's going to take a long time with just the 1.
Yeah. There aren't any deck stones in Devin's main deck, so he's okay. Doesn't just immediately, planes lose. But another Evolving Wilds from Koepke. Yeah, there we go from Cedric. He's got the second planes. And now we're underway. Thalia's Lieutenant pumps the Envoys. Here comes 6. Looks like Cedric also with a Declaration in Stone in hand might make a quick game here. And Koepke down to 12.
With the Lieutenant here, it's really clear why that 1 land hand was keepable. As soon as he found that second land, his board position is looking mighty good.
Back to Koepke. This is his turn 3.
All right,
draws. Canopy gets Prairie Stream. His colors are online and his lands are untouched, but he hasn't played a spell just yet.
Right, is it time to start casting? He's got some options here.
Reflector Mage, that'll work. That'll put an Expedition Envoy back in Cedric's hand. We go to Cedric's 4th turn.
Bouncing Thalia's Lieutenant, rarely a good idea, so I like bouncing the Envoy.
Knight of the White Orchid will be the play, though. That will go ahead and get a plains, put a counter on Thalia's Lieutenant. Drew a plains as well, so here's a land 4 for Cedric. And we're going to Declaration in Stone away the blocker. I don't think we mean Expedition Envoy, so we're going to actually have him play the right card, but he does have a Declaration in Stone. Not to mention he can't play Expedition Envoy because it was reflected. See.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to, okay, there we go.
Cedric was too busy showboating to cast the right spell. As we saw, he extended his creatures well beyond the red zone, practically into Devin's face.
Devin down to 7. He has another land, it's a plains, but I think he'd like to double Lambholt Pacifist here, but only 1 green mana source. If he has a collected company, he could try to spin that. Just hit something great.
Yeah, presumably a collected company would be better than casting just 1 pacifist.
Question is if he has it, though. 2 mana, looks like he's going to go. I don't think he has it.
He has 2 main deck Tameo Field Researcher. I want to say I see that card in his hand.
That card seems particularly, I don't like it at all in this matchup.
No, it's just really too slow. Cedric has 3 creatures. If he minused it, it's just dead to the 3rd.
Pacifist for Devin. Cedric's hat has turned 90 degrees since his last turn. We'll see if that play works out for him.
He's really getting his trash-talking game on point. He does have a Pro Tour coming up.
Well, it's trash-talking without any speech. I like that part of it.
Right. The nonverbal cues are a very essential part of a good game.
Counting toward those last 7 points of damage. Yeah, another Declaration in Stone.
This time actually casting the correct spell from his hand. I like that.
Second clue. This is lethal. Here's an Expedition Envoy to try to make it more lethal. It's close. Look, this is the 5th turn here, and that's going to be the game. So Cedric Phillips up 1-0 over Devin Koepke. And quick one there. We're going to go as Mono White Humans takes the first game. One of the things I really like about the deck is how good it is on the play and how punishing it is of missteps. And it did both of those there.
Yep. Koepke no action until turn 3, and he was well behind on board by that point.
Yeah, so I think you have a space of what's turn 4 win.
Turn 4
So
win?
we were so close. I don't have that one either.
It's messed up.
Yeah, it's messed up. We're going to look at the sideboards first. We're going to start quickly with Cedric Phillips' sideboard. He's got some 4-ofs. Militia Captains, Archangel of Tides, Gideons. After that, he's got 2 Silk Wraps and a Plains.
Well, basic Plains can't be great here.
I don't think so. It's like if he boards in 4 Gideons, he probably
that's where you want it. I like the 2 Silk Wraps and the Militia Captains. Those will allow him to kind of keep pace on the table here in a matchup like this. And on Devin's side, a Duskwatch Recruiter, a Knight of the White Orchid, 3 Gideon Allies Zendikar, 2 Nissa Vastwood Sitter, 2 Days Undoing, 2 Declaration of Stone, 2 Negate, 2 Tragic Arrogance. Big finds here. The 2 Declaration of Stones would have been much better than Reflector Mage against that Expedition Envoy Onslaught. The Tragic Arrogance also play quite well here. Recruiter helps him lower his curve. Gideon's okay here. Once you get to turn 4 on the play, casting Gideon's usually quite good against humans.
Yeah, it does something here, though it does cost 4. So Josh talked to you about the Season 3 schedule that was coming up for the season. Now, you might have seen the regionals on the schedule. So what is that? All right, well, we have the StarCityGames.com regional championships. These happen the same weekends as the Pro Tour. Now, we have announced the dates, and you see this exclusive playmat that's being given away at Star City Games regionals. So we have that token and the playmat guaranteed to the first 200 players to go to each of our regional championships. Now, this is going to be October 15th. It's going to be standard. So this will be new standard after Kaladesh. So make sure you get your deck ready and kind of get the cards you need. This is part of the SCG Tour, so will be prizes. First of all, our cash prizes to the top 32 players. But on top of that, SCG points, all up to 20 for first place, along with a qualification to the next invitational or any invitational in the next year for all of the top 8 players. We have it at 15 locations around the country. You see them on the map here, the stars, and a list there. So you can find out more, including the specific venue for your site, and make sure you be one of those first players registered, as we want to make sure you get a playmat. All of this is available at starcitygames.com/regionals.
That event's mid-October. Reasonable chance I'll be hitting the Minneapolis regional. With it being mid-October, I probably won't be wearing a Halloween costume, but I'm not going to rule anything out at this point in time.
All right, sir. So, for Cedric Phillips, SCG commentator from Strongsville, Ohio, he's got a pair of open top 8s. And if you follow his Twitter, you may know a lot of this stuff about him. Into Yellow Card, Paramore. I didn't actually know about Newfound Glory because I don't think he tweets about that one as often. But I didn't know the last thing, and this is pretty neat. A tradition of eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch once per year on Christmas Eve.
So that's the kind of thing that might have a really happy origin or might have some horribly depressing backstory.
Oh, gosh.
I'm kind of curious.
I really like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That stuff's great.
Well, if you like it, you eat it more than once a year, right?
Right. It's like you don't want it to lose its specialness, or you don't like it.
Also,
it's
is
tradition.
he just like gorging on the entire box? Or like, that's going to leave a lot left behind. Or does he just eat it over the course of the day?
It's like Christmas Eve morning, or is this like we're having it like at night while we're waiting for Santa?
Does he borrow a cup of Cinnamon Toast Crunch for a friend on that day?
Because what do you do with yeah? It's not, I mean, maybe it's the same box because it would take like a lot of years to get through the box. Otherwise, you're wasting it. We're wasting it, right?
Stale Cinnamon Toast Crunch
it's
again.
Yeah.
Had a great Christmas.
It's like once every 8 to 10 years, you got to go get a new box. Koepke on 6. He'll be on the play, which is going to be helpful for him. Maybe you just get the little fun-sized ones.
Okay, sure.
Right.
I forgot about those.
I don't know where you buy them. You have to like buy a variety pack.
Yeah, they usually come in like multiples, but you can keep the package sealed for the second one.
All right. Prairie Stream to start for Koepke. For Cedric, it's going to be some sort of 1-drop. It'll be 3-bit Inspector, making a clue. Second play for Koepke. Lambholt Pacifist. So if you're going to have to mull to 6, this is the way to do it. That card is phenomenal in the matchup.
Much better on turn 2 than turn 4, that's for sure.
Second play for Phillips is going to be a Hanvir Militia Captain. These have come out of the sideboard for the matchup. Against a deck that is low on removal, the card can be really impactful. Devin, land number 3, but no play. Flips his creature into a 4/4. But the no play part, that can come back to get him. You really need to tap out against these humans' decks.
Right.
For Cedric, Knight of the White Orchid is creature number 3. It'll get a land.
And there are 4 Dramokas command in Koepke's deck. If he's sitting on that, this might be okay. Though Cedric, if he had access to a Declaration in Stone here, that'd be better than okay.
You have a land 4? He does. It's a Plains and Thalia's Lieutenant. So the interaction here between flipped Hanvir Militia Captain and Thalia's Lieutenant is pretty disgusting.
It's another combo.
Not to mention he's going to flip back the Pacifist. So...
And looks like no Dramoka's command for Koepke as well.
He's going to draw a Plains. Wished he would have had that last turn. He could have kept playing on curve.
So he has a collected company.
Yeah, he probably needs to... It's interesting. He's got a Reflector Mage in hand. I'm wondering if he plays the company. If he doesn't hit a Reflector Mage off it, that Militia Captain's going to flip. And that's just... He just can't let that happen. So you see Reflector Mage will take care of the Militia Captain.
Trying to get some traction. Wants to be on the battlefield in a significant way.
Yeah, Militia Captain, we talked about the sideboard card here. The front side is innocuous, but if that had stuck around, it would have flipped into Westvale Cult Leader. And that thing's not okay at all for Cedric to have, if you're right. It's huge. It makes a creature every turn, which pumps Thalia's Lieutenant every turn, which just makes the game impossible.
Go a little bit wider, go a little bit bigger every turn. It itself is gigantic and only gets larger.
So we're back to Phillips. This is his turn 4. Swings with Knight of the White Orchid. It's a 3/3 first strike right now. So no great block for Devin. He'll go to 16.
Yeah, of his attacks, that one was the free one. There was no way he was losing that in combat.
Archangel of Tithe. Cedric has definitely gone big out of the sideboard.
Okay. It's going to make it hard for Devin to navigate combat.
Devin draws Declaration in stone.
Also flies over all of Devin's stuff, so he can start getting aggressive with that Archangel.
What Devin will hope for is he has 2 copies of Tragic Arrogance in his sideboard. Those will do a ton of work for him if he can survive to cast one.
Yeah, Arrogance is about his best card in this matchup once the game gets to that point.
Both players trading creatures back and forth. The advantage seems to look for Cedric. If no player does anything, Cedric's creatures are set to scale bigger.
Yep.
He's got an Archangel, this Lieutenant, and the Militia Captain in hand. They're all going to be very good.
And Koepke has Collected Company in his hand, but if he's casting that, having some difficulty paying for the Archangel.
Yeah, and you mentioned that one here. We'll look at Archangel Tides. If it's attacking, Devin needs to pay 1 mana per blocker. If it's untapped, Devin needs to pay 1 mana per attacker.
Now, if Cedric gets aggressive on the table here and Koepke can company into a Reflector Mage and bounce the Archangel, suddenly this could really be going his way.
Right, so that's the scary part. So you're looking at why doesn't Cedric just swing out? Is that if Devin just has a very strong company, it can be punishing. Cedric will start by Declaration and stoning away the Pacifist. And at this point, that might make Devin's board small enough that Cedric's willing to attack into it, especially when he has that Cult Leader.
And this also makes it so Cedric doesn't have to worry about Archangel Avacyn, because with that gone, Koepke can't cast that with 4 lands. Oh, I apologize. I am thinking of Dusk
the other flip guy. Yeah, this one's just a 4/4.
Just was never on that. Too many werewolves.
The same mana cost. Both get 1 bigger when they flip.
The fact that there are 2 is just very egregious.
1 common, 1. No, I guess they're both uncommon. All right. All right, I'll allow it. The challenge is upheld. Cedric, land 5. We know he has the Cult Leader. He's giving pause to cards like Tragic Arrogance right now. If he extends Cult Leader into it, he would probably lose the game to Tragic Arrogance. So he'll Griff's Boon the Thalia's Lieutenant.
Puts that on the Lieutenant because if that's getting hit by a Reflector Mage, Cedric's just fine with that.
Now he swings the whole team. None of his creatures can be lethally blocked. I mean, as it stands. Devin's Collective Companies. Now, if he doesn't hit a Reflector Mage, he cannot block anything.
Yes.
So, 6 cards, and he's going to need a big 6, and it's going to have to start with Reflector Mage.
These cards don't look like Reflector Mage.
They don't look like gold cards. You're not wrong. So he'll be taking the full set of damage. Lamo Pacifist Thalia's Lieutenant. So he'll get 1/1 counters for his creatures, but no blocks.
This is okay. He has a good amount of power for a crackback, though I think he's still losing this race.
Yeah, it's going to be 3. It's me 11 from Cedric. Make that 10. Devin's down to 5.
Devin's really looking for land tragic arrogance here.
Yeah, outside of that, it's going to be hard for him to block through this. Cedric deciding, does he want to push in that last piece, the militia captain?
Looks pretty aggressive. He can sit back. He does have that clue hanging out from the inspector still.
Yeah, he'll do it. Here's the militia captain. Puts a counter on the Thalia's lieutenant.
A little post-combat pump my lieutenant. It's fine, though. He assumed that Koepke's on collected company here, and he just didn't know what the fines were going to be.
Koepke finds Reflector Mage for the turn. So my read here is that if Devin does not reflect the Archangel, he loses, because he can't block enough creatures.
Yeah.
The unfortunate side effect of that is that this militia captain is going to turn into the cult leader. And when that happens...
And the Thalia's lieutenant's already very close to lethal. And it has a grip spoon on it.
It'll just take 1. Yeah, it's 3 power, so it'll take 2 humans from Cedric. It's not much.
The deck is called Mono White Humans. It has quite a few of the cards with that type line. Cedric has boarded into some stuff. You know, he has angels and what have you, so it's a little diluted, but still plenty of ways to make that lethal in the following turn.
Maybe looking at Declaration in stone now. Devin will crack his clue. That's a sign of someone who does not like a situation. A third Reflector Mage isn't going to do much. He'll Declaration in stone away the Archangel.
Yeah, and he's just not going to be able to engage in combat favorably as long as that's on the table.
I actually like this play from Devin. So if you assume that he has to hit Tragic Arrogance land, then this is the cracking the clue is actually some play he had to make, because he's both the land and the Arrogance away from the out. So he has to draw 2 cards. So you might as well crack a clue. Now Devin didn't hit.
Yeah.
And we turn into a cult leader. She's a 4/4. Draw for Cedric's Anointer of Champions, but his board looks great.
Kind of wishes the Grip Spoon was in his graveyard so he could just put that up on the cult leader, but still in a fine position.
Right now, for Phillips, figuring out if the swing is just the flyer or whether there's profit in swinging more.
And how many Grip Spoon is Cedric working with this week?
3 in the main, none in the board.
It's likely worth it to crack these clues pre-combat, because if he finds that, he just wins on the spot. Perhaps he doesn't have them in post board, though I think they're quite good in this matchup.
That's what we're going to do. Here's 1 clue, Grip Spoon. Anointer of Champions, Anointer of Champions. All right, 2 pumps for the lieutenant. That'll do it. 2-0. Cedric's on to 7-1.
Yep. 2 humans, also great way to clean that up.
Pretty efficient.